Hey guys, Mr. Mini Painter here, and today I'm going to show you how I painted Black Bolt, or Blackagar Boltagon. What's in the name? He was first seen in, I think it was the Fantastic Four Volume 1, but of course we all know him as one of the Inhumans, the leader of the Inhumans and the Royal Court. He is of the Marvel Crisis Protocol game, which I really enjoy. You can see some of them in the background here. And this is the one we're talking about, Black Bolt. It's a lot of black, it's a lot of bolt, and I'm going to show you how I painted him. So here he is, all primed in gray. You can use black or gray, whatever you prefer. I chose gray because there's a lot of brightness in this model and it's easy to go dark over light than the other way around. Now we're going to start off by painting his face with Bugman's Glow as a base tone. It's just a tiny part of skin showing, but still important to give it your attention because the rest is all black and lightning. We're gonna add a second layer of Cadian flesh tone. Covering most of the face, just leave some small recesses on the side of the nose and the cheekbones darker in the previous color. And cover about 80% with this tone. And we're going to do the same with Kislev flesh, decreasing the area. There is a tiny part of cheek showing here. You can highlight the upper lip, the chin, tip of the nose, and give it a nice detail. Now he is screaming. His mouth is wide open, which is a dangerous position for Black Bolt, so we're gonna color the inside of his mouth with Screamer Pink. And next we're gonna highlight that with some pink Horror. Just the very tip of the tongue. And that's it. Then Palette Witch flesh for the teeth. And also the eyes. Now the eyes, I always have some difficulty painting the left and right eye with the same hand, so what I usually do is turn it upside down because you can repeat the same stroke from left to right. I'm right-handed to do the other eye, but it's up to you. Choose a position that feels comfortable, and yeah, for me this works. Next up, the large part, the majority of the model, with Abaddon Black as a base color. We're gonna start really dark and build up from there. This is a lot of area to cover. So take your time and make sure to leave those white stripes across his body. Well, not black, leave them as gray or whatever base tone you chose, because otherwise you have to go over them with several layers in the next step. So if you're able to, please don't touch them. Now you're gonna end up with something like this. So you can see those stripes and the wings between his arms, the thing on his forehead, all left in the base color, the gray tone. When finished, the end result should be something like this. That's a whole lot of black, and we're going to dry brush that with some Dawnstone. Now you can do it with the regular brush if you want, but because it's a large model, I chose to use a large dry brush and add some highlights here and there. Now it's okay if you cover a lot of black, because he is in lightning. It's a lit up model, isn't it? Next, with some Black Legion, I painted in some of the details. So for example, his chest, I accentuated a little bit by adding some lines below them. Also his six-pack. All of these Marvel characters have beautiful six-packs. I think it's one of the requisitions before becoming a superhero, you must have a six-pack. Well, nice for us to paint them, right? So adding some black lines here and there to accentuate those. Next step is I'm using some Dawnstone, pure Dawnstone with a brush to touch those areas that I really wanted to be solid, highlight, a solid highlight. And I'm gonna repeat that step afterwards with some Administratum Gray, just the tip of the knees, accentuate some muscles here and there, the top of those six-pack packs. How do you call those? Some bicep, just some tiny lines here and there, just to make it stand out a little bit more. Gives a beautiful result, and is really worth taking your time. Now what you can do here is kind of blend those colors together by watering down your paint to about a 50% water to paint, or maybe a little bit more. And what you do is you pull the bright paint towards the previously painted bright parts, and that way you get a nice transition from dark to bright. That always works beautifully when mixing dark and bright colors in any color. So what you do is you kind of line out, you block out the color where you want them, and then with a thinned down version with water, you kind of pull the paint towards the bright parts, creating a nice transition from dark to bright. That's what I'm doing here as well. So first block out the highlighted parts, and then pull a watered down version from dark to bright. Next up is the lines across his suit. I used gray sear because, well, they are white, but white is never really white, and I find it very difficult to paint with pure white. So usually what I do is use some gray sear and then add some highlights here and there with some white scar, for example. Gray sear is nearly white, it's kind of an off-white, and works really well. And in the end you should have something like this. I also painted the wings between his arms, and the next step for this is I'm going to be using a contrast paint, Apothecary White, to create some shading in there. For me this works better than, for example, Null Oil, because then it really turns to black. Or what you can do is try and thin down your Null Oil, and you can use it as well. For the eyes I'm using Pilar Glacier, which is a beautiful blue contrast paint, like a very bright blue. If you don't have this contrast paint, it's not a big deal. You can use, for example, 1000 Suns Blue or any bright blue and water it down a little bit. The beauty of this contrast paint is that it creates nice transitions from dark to bright blue. Now the lightning I gave a base color of Cantor Blue, which I did off camera. Sorry about that, I kind of ruined the clip, but you get the idea. Next step is I'm covering about 90% of it with Kaldor Sky. So I'm leaving the bottom parts and some creases in there darker, so you get some nice blue transitions, as you can see here, and the majority is painted over. And we're going to do the same with 1000 Suns Blue. Again, work from bottom to the top and leave the bottom nice and dark and create transitions there. And we're going to do the same step again with Bahareth Blue. This time only focusing on the edges of the lightning, the surfaces. So you can see like this, it's going to be nice and bright. And with some white scar, I painted the, what are these, blobs or balls or whatever you call them, bulbs of energy, and also the very edges of the lightning, so you get a beautiful lightning effect like this. Then there's a whole lot of rock left. I used a base coat of Administratum Gray on the flying rocks and the base. Next I gave it a heavy wash of Null Oil. I tend to go very dark here and brighten it up from here. You can do it in stages if you want. Make sure to let that dry before continuing. And I continued with a large dry brush and some dawnstone as a first step. Don't push it in those dark areas. We want those dark black areas in the rock and the cracks to remain dark. And we're going to take it one step further with Administratum Grey. Now make sure to touch the very edges of the stone, and if you want you can take it one step further by using Grey Sear to add some fine highlights here and there. And here's our final result of Black Bolt, the leader of the Inhumans to the Royal Court. I think he looks beautiful. With just a few colors you get an amazing effect like this. I hope you enjoyed this video and it was of any use to you guys. If you like this kind of content, please leave a comment below. I love to hear from you. Give me a like and hit that subscribe button if you want to keep getting more of this content, because I'll be making a lot more in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in one of my next videos. Bye bye!